Association of Anatomists, delegates, and dear friends. We remember the late Emeritus Professor Dr. Kamlesh Madam with profound respect and gratitude. She was the first head of the Department of Anatomy at Sri Balaji Medical College and Hospital. She completed her MBBS at Stanley Medical College, where her commitment to public health and medical services was evident in her role as a Chief Medical Officer. Subsequently, she pursued DCH from the Egmore Institute of Child Health to become a dedicated pediatrician. She then did her postgraduate studies at Stanley Medical College, and her academic career spanned in various government medical colleges of Tamil Nadu, culminating in her retirement as a respected professor from Salem Government Medical College. Dr. Kamlesh Madam's interest for teaching and her dedication to anatomy education were apparent as she continued as head of the departments at SRM Dental, Sri Balaji Dental College and Hospital, and SBMCH. In recognition of her exceptional contribution to education and her 20 years of experience, she remained as an emeritus professor at Bihar, where her legacy continued to inspire future generations. Madam Kamlesh still lives in our memories. Now it is my privilege to introduce the first speaker for today, Dr. Ilavenil Karunakaran, an assistant professor in anatomy at Karpagam Faculty of Medical Sciences and Research. She is a dedicated teacher with over 13 years of expertise in academia and life science research. She holds a bachelor's degree in dental surgery from Tamil Nadu Government Dental College and Hospital, MSc in anatomy from prestigious All India Institute of Sciences, and a PhD from SRM University. Her academic journey has been enriched with numerous certifications and courses related to medical education, bioethics, and e-learning, which reflects a commitment to continuous learning and professional development. Her teaching experience include positions as assistant professor in anatomy in different medical institutions and as a reader and head of the department in anatomy at Sri Ramakrishna Dental College and Hospital, Coimbatore. Dr. Ilavenil Karunakaran's significant involvement in e-learning and online education is evident through her roles as a teaching associate, course developer, and co-instructor in various massive open online courses and educational programs. As a dedicated researcher, she has made substantial contributions in the field of anatomy and medical education with numerous publications and presentations to her credit. She has actively participated in various conferences, workshops, and faculty development programs, and has been most sought after as a resource person and invited speaker, reflecting her commitment to knowledge, dissemination, and professional growth. Now I would like to invite Dr. Ilavenil to deliver her presentation on the topic, Intersection of AI on Medical Education, Opportunities and Challenges.
Sure. Request you to wait for 2 minutes. Professor Kamlesh husband is just coming. We'll start once he comes in.
Good morning. We remember our late Emeritus Professor Dr. Kamlesh Madam with profound respect and gratitude. She was the first head of the Department of Anatomy at Sri Balaji Medical College and Hospital. She completed her MBBS at Stanley Medical College, where her commitment to public health and medical services was evident in her role as a Chief Medical Officer. Subsequently, she pursued DCH from the Egmore Institute of Child Health to become a dedicated pediatrician. She then did her postgraduate studies in anatomy at Stanley Medical College, and her academic career spanned in various government medical colleges of Tamil Nadu, culminating in her retirement as a respected professor from Salem Government Medical College. Dr. Kamlesh Madam's interest for teaching and her dedication to anatomy education were apparent as she continued as head of the departments at SRM Dental, SBDCH, and SBMCH. In recognition of her exceptional contribution to education and her 20 years of experience, she remained as an emeritus professor at Bihar, where her legacy continued to inspire future generations. Madam Kamlesh still lives in our memories. Now I request Dr. Ilavenil ma'am to give a presentation. Good morning.
கற்றார்முன் கல்வி உரைத்தல் மிக இனிதே மிக்காரை சேர்தல் மிகமான முன்னிலை. So I think I am honored to be part of this conference, and I am honored to be part of this conference, and I deem it an even greater honor to be speaking in the Dr. Kamalesh Sundareshwaran ma'am's oration here. And at the onset, let me start with this topic, intersection of artificial intelligence and medical education. I think it's very exciting to talk about such a topic, which might be somewhat technical maybe, but it's something that we definitely must have used, all of us, in the past half an hour, right? So I want you to just take a look at this list of things we have here and just cast your mind back and think whether you have used any of this today or earlier sometime. So I just want one quick poll. So how many here have not used any of this? Can you please raise your hand? Anybody here who has used one of this? Used, yeah, at least one of this. Many. So I think all seven, 6. Yes. So I think this is what I want to say first. AI is already part of our everyday life. Either it is face recognition when our phone tells us, okay, do you want to see videos about your child, your husband, memories from the past? Face recognition is as simple as that and gives us some good music, and till we use our spam filters in our mail IDs. AI is already there in our everyday life. And as I said, the chances are that we have used it in the past half an hour. Yes? So what is my first, every one of us has an aha moment. And my aha moment with artificial intelligence started with this. So we can actually, you can use your mobile and try scanning this. If not, you can just type quick draw with Google and try out that activity there. So this is actually my story. While you're doing it, let me say the story. So I was preparing for an induction program for our postgraduate students, and we all of us know that lifelong learning is the crux of education nowadays. We need to learn in order to teach, as Dr. Sundrapandian sir was saying yesterday. Yes? Yeah. And I was searching for something to do with it, and I got this. Is that opening? Yes? Try it here. Yeah, so you can take, yes, it's working. So now this is a Google Doodle data set. It is going to challenge us to draw images. Challenge us to draw images while Google tries to identify what we are drawing. So please take a minute and play the game, draw it with Google.
I see rainbow. A circle, a potato, or moon. I see pond, or boomerang, or shoe, or planet, or peanut. I see shrimp, or garden hose, or umbrella.
Lot of voices. Yes? Many of you are great artists. Yeah. But the idea is not that. There are 2 takeaways I want from this activity. The first thing is that Google is collecting a data set from us, our actions, what we think an aeroplane or a toaster or a nail looks like, and it is using it to hone and improve and learn its identification systems. So when we have handwriting identification, when we write something and our students' our papers are read and they are corrected, this is the basis of that, the optical character recognition. We are the data providers here, right? So, but my aha moment, as I said, was that I realized here we were trying to tell our postgraduates that you should be lifelong learners, But along with us, here is a system that is actually perpetually learning. It is not even lifelong, it is perpetually learning. And that I think is something that what artificial intelligence is about. It is any system or computer language that uses or mimics human-like reasoning and intelligence to carry out tasks that could have been achieved by human intelligence. So what I was first perturbed actually. I was like, am I against this? Am I against this? Something that is trying to learn all the time from what I am doing? But I decided it needs to be with such a system, which is learning. And this is the point where I think all of us have heard this. Our turnover time of medical knowledge has shortened to 75 years. But there was another way in which this was represented. It said, there was a paper which said, the first 3 years of medical school which an undergraduate learner goes through and he learns lot of facts is just 6% of the total medical information that is going to be out there by the time he graduates. Just 6% of the knowledge is only what is going to be relevant. So now there's a twist here. It is not the principles which are at question. It is the amount of data that is flowing in through so much of research and advances. So then that is more a reason why we need to go forward with AI as an ally. And this is going to be my outline of whatever I'm going to say today. You can see there's a very nice disclaimer there. Parts of these presentation. In fact, the topic itself is not mine. It was what was suggested by ChatGPT. And there are one or few more. And I found, it gave me a list and I liked that one the best, which I tweaked it around. And this is a disclaimer which I think many of you who have submitted to journals recently must have come across this disclaimer that journals ask. Has AI been used in the preparation of this article? And if it is, the author must take responsibility for it. Right. So, I've already talked about this and I just want this slide to show where we have started. We have actually started with AI as early as the 1950s. World War II. It's not something that has been around the past decade or so. We nearly have a 60-year-old, even more than that, history of AI. And the one which shot it into fame was this. I think most of us recognize IBM's Deep Blue. What was its achievement? Does anybody remember? Deep Blue, yeah. Sure, that is Corsage. Deep Blue, IBM's Deep Blue. That was what got it into public attention. Okay, I don't know. I think many are young here. This was the first the chess grandmaster Kasparov was defeated by Deep Blue. This was the one which shot it into fame. And the latest one is here on ChatGPT. So that is what has made everyone talk about this, because here is a model which can converse with humans and it can talk and meaning it can interact, run up a conversation. So I just want to give a very quick demo of the possibilities of ChatGPT. Let's just take a look at this. Okay, so this is a demo of how it works. This is called a large language model and it is from OpenAI. So you can see that here, OpenAI. So let me see, this is playing. Yeah, so when we open this, I think many of you must have tried it out. How many of you have tried out ChatGPT? Great, yeah, so this must be familiar to most. We just need to log in and yes, here is my mail ID, it verifies. So the first thing I tried out was, because it's World Anatomy Day tomorrow, I thought let it write a speech maybe on World Anatomy Day. And the version I've been using here is the 3.51, which is open for all. 4 needs a paid subscription. So once we ask it something, right? So write a speech, give it a task or something like that. Specify your audience and also maybe give a role for ourselves. What are we? And then it, yeah, so And I also had given it some things like ask questions in between so that the audience will keep interacting with us, right? And then this is as it appeared there. I do not want to waste time on a demo, so that's a video recording, a screen recording of the actual speech. So you can see how it has given up an entire speech there, and it's quite a good enough speech. Maybe some important data like why do we celebrate, on whose memory we celebrate World Anatomy Day and all is not there, but this is quite a very comprehensive speech with questions for the audience, possible responses. I particularly like this part here where it says, okay, take responses from the students, discuss their answers, and how it split it up into these three key aspects. Anatomy is the basis of patient care, medical research, and clinical practice. So this is something that was very interesting. Let me just check out one more thing of what ChatGPT can do. As I said, okay, here is a question on MCQs on anatomy, and what we have done here is actually you can see that we have specified the Bloom's level of learning also. So it runs up some questions which we might as anatomists not always be satisfied with. So I think that is an important takeaway. ChatGPT can provide us a framework, but it definitely needs some supervision from us to have a sound, technically sound output. So here are the answers to it, and we often ask clinical questions in our question papers, and it did that too for carpal tunnel syndrome. It came up with a clinical case scenario, which I think is a perfectly good question which we can use in any of our question papers. Yes? So the last one was something more interesting and which I was again personally in awe of. This was something regarding breaking bad news. So we always try to teach our students about clinical skills, communication and so on. And so this is where you can see that this is what we call the prompt, right? What we ask ChatGPT to do. And the prompt actually needs to be comprehensive. The more specific and detailed the instructions are, we get better answers. So I just wanted to maybe spare 1 minute to look at the prompt. We have told it what to do. So we are assigned roles. I will be the physician, you will be the patient, and how the reply needs to be, and also do it like a consultation, what not to do, and how to speak with empathy. Yes? And we have an entire conversation here going on. So the patient says, I got my results, I'm worried, what does it mean, and so on. And then this entire thing talks about how the physician takes them through it. So how he breaks the fact that it is not responding to treatment, as he says, it is not responded the way, and what are the options that the doctor discusses with the patient. So this is actually a good training model which we can use for our students if we can assign roles, not only for soft skills but even in clinical case diagnosis. We say you can act up like this, pretend like this, so we can ask questions. So something that we can train people on, if this is shared with us as faculty, we can look over, we can actually save the time, talk to students about where they are going wrong, what are the things that they will have to do. So I think in this way, ChatGPT can be with us, right? It can help us out in these ways. To continue with this, so we are here, and there are multiple large language models there, there's Bing and all those. And this is something I really liked again. So again, if I'm a cricket fan with the World Cup going on, I don't want to learn anatomy, but I have to. I can ask it to give me questions which make my life interesting. I have the best of both worlds. I have cricket-based anatomy questions, there are answers, and this allows for a lot of personalization of anatomy teaching. So it talks about the bowler, and sometimes if I'm even more specific, it will even give me names of bowlers and captains and batsmen. Yes. So the AI is not the future. Let's start with this, embrace this fact that it is now. And let us have a very quick look. at what artificial intelligence means in healthcare. I just want to share a few stories with you, and then we will wind up with the next part. Right. So this again, this is a system that talks about patient access. So we have this system that I think you can see the small speaker-like thing. Now this sits at the dispatcher's table where emergency calls are coming in. So what they found is that the AI records the interaction with the person who is on the phone dialing an emergency, 911 and so on. The study was done in the UK actually. And what it could do was, it could detect whether the patient was suffering from a myocardial infarction. And there were nearly 20 patients whom dispatchers missed, but Cortai actually gave a suggestion that this looks like a cardiac emergency. You might need equipment and paramedical personnel who are trained in cardiac support. So that was something that it was able to do, and it is part of the system. Of course, there are pitfalls. There are a lot of false alerts also, but that difference of 25 and 30 patients is important when every single life is important. So this is the story of Cortai. Again, AI in healthcare is usually we link it with radiology, where there is a lot of image analysis, dermatology and so on. But what is very surprising is that a lot of it is also being used in neurosurgery. So if you can divide it into three parts, the pre-operative, the operative and the post-operative part. So pre-operative is where AI was found to be more precise in locating the foci of seizures, which is the lobe involved, which particular locus is involved, planning for surgery, either whether 3D printing, whether it is looking at variations in the brain anatomy and looking at stereotactic placement of electrodes. All of this on operative where we have robotics involved. So that's something amazing that we don't really think of neurosurgery as a place where AI is playing a role. And monitoring patients after they are discharged. How are their vitals? How are their parameters? And this specifically is from India. Niramai Thermalytics is an AI which is developed by a Bangalore-based software company, and this is for the early detection of breast cancer. So that is again one. Cure AI helps in image analysis and reporting. Tricog, I'm sure many of you who have been part of clinical practice, this is there for quite a long time, since 2018. This is where again an ECG is analyzed in as quick a time as 12 seconds. And if there is a variation that requires emergency admission and so on, all hospitals which are linked and the physician is immediately notified through a mobile alert, which allows emergency dispatch of ambulances. So I was personally speaking to someone who was using this, who was located in a remote place in a suburb of Chennai. But the call goes to all the hospitals which are tied up, so that they can, there is lot, we know the precious moments to spare, the golden hour, right? So, and then this is something most of us must have used, maybe members of. Healthify Me is quite popular. It has sensors which detects our calorie count, tells us what to do, how much of exercise, what not to do and so on. And this is quite popular. And so this is again the future. All of us have had Google patients. Patients would come, I know we all say that. This is a Google patient. All his symptoms, all his diagnosis is from Google. And maybe he comes to confirmation, proper confirmation to the physician. But now this is again Google's MedPalm, is where you can input, show it all your x-rays, your symptoms, and it has a comprehensive FAQ which it can help you out with. So I think Google patients are quickly going to be taken up by AI patients, but the best way is to be an AI doctor ourselves, to keep it on our sides. So the key outcome of this is to be, if I were to summarize where in healthcare it is, it's the access to healthcare. It's used in clinical procedures, with assisted clinical decisions, as we've seen in the examples, with patient education, and also in research. So especially in research. So drug development, we all know, is a very cumbersome, a long process, requires lot of expense and so on, time and cost expenses. But with AI, what can happen is there can be repurposing of drugs, which it can try with bioinformatics. What is the most probable candidate to treat this particular infection? This was actually used for discovery of Ebola, medicines to treat Ebola. So they had a number of candidates which were screened. If we had done it the normal clinical trial way, it would have taken years. But this accelerates drug development because it enables us to weed out what are the things that will not work very quickly and efficiently. So my question again is, once we say yes, it is there every day, so many people are using it and so on. What are our concerns with the use of AI in healthcare or in education? We definitely have it. Yes? Replacement of teachers, yes. I think that is the number one thing that goes in our minds. Anybody would like to share any other concern which you think is very valid? Which needs to be... Yes, the human touch is lost. Anything else from the way we've seen it work? Our data. Yeah, all our data is going to God knows where. Yeah, corporate giants. Yes, I think that's the crux of what we say. Now tomorrow we're going to recommend something to a patient saying, yes, my AI assistant thinks you should be put on steroids. Is the patient ready to accept that? Right? And exactly what you said. Where is the human touch? The over-reliance on technology. If something happens, what will be the backup? The bias in data, the legal concerns, and yes, the real question, can AI replace doctors and teachers? No, right, exactly. Yes, I think we need to have that confidence. But why? Let us think why. So I want to, at this point, there's only one question I want to say, maybe stress. AI is here today. AI is already there in healthcare. Now, one funny thing which people who are researching on AI and asking people, what do you think about AI in dermatology? What do you think of AI? One funny thing that comes up in research is, people don't even know that AI is already integrated into the software they are using. That's something that is very shocking, and that is there in most of the research reports which talk about the knowledge and attitudes of physicians towards AI. They say, I don't want it. They say, I'm scared of it. But they hardly realize that most of the systems that we're using today have AI built into it, and we do not even know that. We're not aware of it. So I think the answer to that is that it is there in healthcare, so it needs to be in medical education. So if it is there, what do you think should be the role that it should play in medical education? What would you like to know about AI as teachers, as administrators, right? So let's spend the next few minutes on it. So there is an intersection, and what we are going to do is to navigate it. Again, I think most of you must have tried this. It is again an AI generated image. If I had tried to do something like this picture would not have been here at all, right? I'm not an artist, I'm not a technical freak, but again, take this wonderful image of what I tried to say, an intersection of healthcare and artificial intelligence here, medical education, takes just a matter of a minute. So that's the power of things we have here. What does it mean to it? So let me just divide it into three parts. Either we are teachers, most of us are administrators also, and all of us are lifelong learners. So how do we really use it? So I think the educator, there are only two things we need to maybe, how to teach with AI, and what should we teach our learners about AI? When they come out in another 5 years, they are going to be in a world where they are going to use AI on a routine basis, on a daily basis. So what should we tell them? So I think the first thing, as we've already seen, with ChatGPT, is that we can create lesson plans, even syllabus. You want to do an online course on something, a 4-week course. It can help you create a skeleton for a course plan. It can give you the objectives, anything that you ask it to, which you can then refine, right? You can have assessment. In fact, a lot of engineering institutes and central institutes use Gradescope and such, which allows papers to be scanned, student papers to be scanned and graded based on keywords, And we already saw how it can simulate clinical scenarios, use it for training on soft skills and so on. Again, this is something, we again are researchers. So again, there are multiple apps that help us to do a literature review, search for papers and so on. Elicit and Research Rabbit are very useful in that. I just have a couple of screenshots to show that. So they can actually pull up papers which are related to our research questions. So we'll see how it does that. PDF is something that is, I was reminded of Chitti, the robot doing that thing with the textbook. It's where you can just open it, you have a 68-page PDF document, just drop it there and then give it a few seconds to maybe go through it and ask it questions. Okay, what is the summary of this? And it will give you the summary, right? I think for everything I need to make a disclaimer. Please be aware of the bias that can creep into AI generated text. And here again, most of us are familiar with the Spirit and the Consort protocols, which were part of the Equator network of how we need to report clinical trials. And this again is for AI. It's very specific for AI. You can develop chatbots, apps for learning. Okay, this is an example of Elicit. So this is how it appears. It says explore the scientific literature and you can ask a research question. So once you type in, so that was the question that I had typed in, you can see that it has retrieved some papers. It has also given me a summary of the top 4 papers which it found based on this research question. And the next thing it does is, it can give me each paper, what are its citations, the year, the abstract summary of it, and what were the participants used, the dose used. There are multiple columns that you can add. There are filters if you want only meta-analysis, that will also come. The possibilities are endless. It helps a lot in literature review when you're looking up papers. Yes. And whenever we want to teach our students about AI, it can be done in 2 things. One is what every student should know. And very soon, definitely there will be a modification where teaching about AI is part of the curriculum, much like ethics has been included into it. And then we need to know about there will be some students, some of us, who are really interested in delving deeper into it. We want to create our own systems, either for education or for clinical applications. So it's either in 2 ways in which we can deal with this about AI. Either we go depth. So what do we teach? The first thing that is important is we need to choose a tool which is relevant to the problem in hand. So we need to define the problem first. Do I want the summary of the relevant papers on this topic? Then I should choose the particular tool. The same thing goes for healthcare. Because all the AI that we are using now is supposed to be narrow AI or weak AI. We have not yet reached strong AI yet, right? So narrow AI means that it is very suited to one particular task. And if we give it some other task for which it was not designed for, then the chances of error will be magnified, will be more. So we need to choose, ask our students to choose the relevant tool. Whatever decision that we get out of AI, even if it is a text, a summary or an MCQ, or it is a clinical decision, we need to explain about it. So it should not be a black box. The algorithm behind that decision must be explainable. Because how do we get our patients to trust us when we don't even know how the AI has given us a suggestion of these possible diagnoses? We need to know how it works. And whatever AI might recommend or give us in the form of speech or images or research papers or editing, the accountability and liability is still with humans. AI cannot have copyright, neither is AI held liable for any of this. The validity. Most of the AI diagnostic support tools are developed in Caucasian populations with populations that are not relevant to the Indian populations. Now when I use that system in my clinic, will it really work for my patients the way it worked for the US or the UK population? So the data, the validity of the data and the possibility of bias. So AI can hallucinate. Not only humans can hallucinate, AI can hallucinate. So we need to be aware of it. And the ethics of representation and data privacy. is something we need to be involved with. As ma'am said, we don't know who is taking our data, where is our data going, right? So that needs to be there. So there are multiple pedagogical ways to teach about AI. One thing is again called the pair technique. That's how we use AI. Think of a problem, choose the correct tool, interact, explore with AI, push the AI, they say, right? Because the more you push, the better answers you have, and reflect about whether it worked. So that is something we can teach our students about it. As an administrator, I just want to just highlight this. These are two documents. One is the report of the task force from the National Academy of Medical Sciences, and the other one is from ICMR. It's the ethical guidelines for AI in healthcare. These are very comprehensive and very useful articles which we can refer to whether we are deciding to adopt AI into our institution, into teaching, or even into, maybe we're looking at a clinical trial. You are part of an ethical committee and you have a proposal coming up on AI or something. So these are documents, regulatory documents for it. It's good to have an institutional policy on healthcare and academics, which we can refer to. And for a student, I think what the advantages are that we already saw the cricket example. There's a lot of personalization that is possible, feedback that is possible, which might not be possible in a class of 250 students. How much are we going to give them personalized tutoring? But we can actually leverage these things to give them that personalized feedback and tutoring. And this is something I think which should be the takeaway. The surprising thing is that the latest report on NEJM says that AI responded far more empathetically to patient questions than human physicians. So, but this is something that we need to really work on. It's not something we tell our students or concentrate on, but in the coming years, this is what it is going to be. We are going to hone their soft skills, tell them how to talk, develop the empathy, or otherwise we will be having digital avatars of us roaming around who patients will prefer to interact with, right? And it's much more closer. I think Apollo Clinics has their own, there is their chatbots which talks like to the patient. It's called the CIE. So that's a summary of the slide. So my takeaway is just three simple things. AI is here with us, and how we choose to interact with it. We can stay at any level. I want to develop something, I want to know what it is so that I can guide my students. But the thing is, embrace the technology and explore the technology. I'm sure all of us will have fun doing it, right? And then decide how to train our students on it. So I will leave with those words, and anybody, please do mail me with your thoughts, your suggestions, and I would like to acknowledge my colleagues and friends who helped me with the presentation. And these are a few of the references which you might find interesting. It's all in PDF, you can download it and read up if you're interested. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for the remarkable and thought-provoking narration. Now the session is open for discussion. If you have any queries.
Yes. It can give me each paper, what are its citations, the year, the abstract summary of it, and what were the participants used, the dose used. There are multiple columns that you can add. There are filters if you want only meta-analysis, that will also come. The possibilities are endless. It helps a lot in literature review when you're looking up papers. Yes. And whenever we want to teach our students about AI, it can be done in two things. One is what every student should know. And very soon, definitely, there will be a modification where teaching about AI is part of the curriculum, much like ethics has been included into it. And then we need to know about there will be some students, some of us, who are really interested in delving deeper into it. We want to create our own systems, either for education or for clinical applications. So it's either in two ways in which we can deal with this about AI. Either we go depth. So what do we teach? The first thing that is important is we need to choose a tool which is relevant to the problem in hand. So we need to define the problem first. Do I want the summary of the relevant papers on this topic? Then I should choose the particular tool. The same thing goes for healthcare, because all the AI that we are using now is supposed to be narrow AI or weak AI. We have not yet reached strong AI yet, right? So narrow AI means that it is very suited to one particular task. And if we give it some other task for which it was not designed for, then the chances of error will be magnified, will be more. So we need to choose, ask our students to choose the relevant tool. Whatever decision that we get out of AI, even if it is a text, a summary or an MCQ, or it is a clinical decision, we need to explain about it. So it should not be a black box. The algorithm behind that decision must be explainable. Because how do we get our patients to trust us when we don't even know how the AI has given us a suggestion of these possible diagnoses? We need to know how it works. And whatever AI might recommend or give us in the form of speech or images or research papers or editing, the accountability and liability is still with humans. AI cannot have copyright, neither is AI held liable for any of this. The validity. Most of the AI diagnostic support tools are developed in Caucasian populations with populations that are not relevant to the Indian populations. Now when I use that system in my clinic, will it really work for my patients the way it worked for the US or the UK population? So the data, the validity of the data and the possibility of bias. So AI can hallucinate. Not only humans can hallucinate, AI can hallucinate. So we need to be aware of it. And the ethics of representation and data privacy is something we need to be involved with. As ma'am said, we don't know who is taking our data, where is our data going, right? So that needs to be there. So the multiple pedagogical ways to teach about AI. One thing is again called the pair technique. That's how you use AI. Think of a problem, choose the correct tool, interact, explore with AI, push the AI they say, right? Because the more you push, the better answers you have, and reflect about whether it worked. So that is something we can teach our students about it. As an administrator, I just want to just highlight this. These are two documents. One is the report of the task force from the National Academy of Medical Sciences, and the other one is from ICMR. It's the ethical guidelines for AI in healthcare. These are very comprehensive and very useful articles which we can refer to whether we are deciding to adopt AI into our institution, into teaching, or even into, maybe we are looking at a clinical trial. You are part of an ethical committee and you have a proposal coming up on AI or something. So these are documents, regulatory documents for it. It's good to have an institutional policy on healthcare and academics, which we can refer to. And for a student, I think what the advantages are that we already saw the cricket example. There's a lot of personalization that is possible, feedback that is possible, which might not be possible in a class of 250 students. How much are we going to give them personalized tutoring? But we can actually leverage these things to give them that personalized feedback and tutoring. And this is something I think which should be the takeaway. The surprising thing is that the latest report on NEJM says that AI responded far more empathetically to patient questions than human physicians. So, but this is something that we need to really work on. It's not something we tell our students or concentrate on, but in the coming years, this is what it is going to be. We are going to hone their soft skills, tell them how to talk, develop the empathy, or otherwise we will be having digital avatars of us roaming around who patients will prefer to interact with, right? And it's much more closer. I think Apollo Clinics has their own, there is their chatbots which talks like to the patient. It's called the CIE. So that's a summary of the slide. So my takeaway is just three simple things. AI is here with us and how we choose to interact with it. We can stay at any level. I want to develop something, I want to know what it is so that I can guide my students. But the thing is, embrace the technology and explore the technology. I'm sure all of us will have fun doing it, right? And then decide how to train our students on it. So, I will leave with those words, and anybody, please do mail me with your thoughts, your suggestions, and I would like to acknowledge my colleagues and friends who helped me with the presentation. And these are a few of the references which you might find interesting. It's all in PDF, you can download it and read up if you're interested. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for the remarkable and thought-provoking narration. Now the session is open for discussion. If you have any queries.
Yes.
Very good and interesting talk. I am from Manipal. I am professor of anatomy. Before I ask questions, madam, this one, we are all medical people. So, is it engineering knowledge is necessary to learn this artificial intelligence?
Yes, great. So this was something, as I said, sir, I'm also not a technical.
No, just for the sake of asking.
No, this is the question that is there in most of our minds. So what I find is that the answer to this is in the 21st century scale. It is collaboration. Most of our institutions nowadays are multidisciplinary institutions. We have very good engineering institutions allied with us, and they have their own AI labs. So what we really need is to have a collaboration between such labs, because this again is part of the regulation. We have something called the HITL, the human in the loop. So whatever they are developing for us, whether it is an anatomy app or whether it is a medicine app, there needs to be a dialogue between the developers and the physicians, as you said, who can provide valuable input on how we are going through it. So it can be as simple as developing a chatbot for your class. So I am Vesalius, I want to talk to you. So that might need Python or whatever. So I think the answer is not to spend our time learning to code or develop something, but collaborate with someone and give a feedback, establish that workflow process. That is what I feel will really work, sir.
But as I learned so many things in your the presentation. As a beginner, I will say that.
Yeah.
But some things are really interesting.
Yes,
thank you for that.
Sir, I think you should try. The simplest is ChatGPT, but we must remember that whatever we put in, it is learning from us. It is one
still we are learners. Yes. Still we are learners. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more queries?
Ma'am, I am Dr. Sara from AIMS Madurai. I like to share my experience with using of ChatGPT.
Yes, ma'am.
Like it's user friendly. So I had set up MCQ questions. Level of if you want, must know, desirable, and nice to know. You just have to speak with the ChatGPT. Set MCQ questions for upper limb. Then it will set varying degree. You have to specify more. If it is setting to the highest standard. If you want to assess level 3, you have to tell that. Then the questions become like USMLE tougher. If you want for level 1, it will again modify the questions. So I have little experience, and it's a useful tool, but it's a double-edged sword also. So care should be taken about that. Thank you. It was a nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I kindly request Dr. Durga, ma'am, Professor and HOD of Anatomy, to honor Dr. Ilavenil, ma'am.
And hospital, a position which he served with devotion. He held many responsible posts in our institution. His tenure as the vice principal of our college was memorable and close to his heart and also our heart. He was also the head of the Department of Physiology. in Sri Balaji Medical College and Hospital. He always had so much affection for the staff at SBMCH. He began his career in this university at Sri Balaji Dental College, Pallikarne, before joining our medical college. He had graduated from Kilpak Medical College, completing his MBBS in the year 1984. He went on to do MD in Physiology from Stanley Medical College in 1989 and later PhD from our own institution. He was a very active person and relished contributing to the institution. He was the person to start Association of Physiologists and was keen in developing the association as well. He was a mentor to many of us. We will always cherish his memory. To give this oration, we have Dr. Pushpalata K. from Professor, JSS Medical College. She is also the co-convener of Medical Education Unit, member in Curriculum Committee in the JSS Medical College and RGHS. She is one of the key persons in implementing the CBME curriculum at JSS Medical College. She is involved in the preparation of integrated timetable for first year medical students in 2013, even before the NMC implemented CBME. The editor of 9th and 10th edition of Inderbir Singh's textbook of histology and book chapter on early clinical exposure in Handbook on Medical Education. Digitalized the Anatomy Museum in JSS Medical College and started the soft embalming technique for cadaveric skill workshop. She is a key person to initiate software for analysis and attainment of outcomes. She was professor and HOD of anatomy from 16 to 1st December 2022. She also has held the responsibility of member secretary MEU, coordinator curriculum committee and timetable committee, IQAC member. She did her MBBS from KIMS Bangalore and MD from JSS Mysore. She is pursuing her PhD as well. She has done her FAMER from PSG Coimbatore. I heartily welcome you, ma'am.
So good morning, one and all present here. I think it's my honor to be here to give the oration of Dr. Professor Sai Kumar, sir. I just heard about him when I came as the last time as examiner from Johnson, sir. He was, I think there was a trip to the US, he was not here. So I heard from him about him. So I think it is my honor to present here, to present the oration of Dr. Sai Kumar. So let me start with this quote. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. All of us here as educators here. So I'll be talking about the outcome-based education here. And how many of you are already using this outcome-based education or implemented this? I think the deemed universities are more familiar with this outcome-based education. So where it is, first thing, even we started this with the NAC criteria where we need to go for a accreditation, the NAC accreditation. This is outcome-based, it is a mandatory. But when I started working on this, I realized the importance of this outcome-based education. So I think all of us are face these problems to either to plan to build a house or buy a house or whatever it is. So there's a lot of challenges when you are planning to construct a house and need to meet the lot of architect or engineer or so many other things are there. But finally when the outcome is there, we are very happy with that and we want this, the finest of fine of this heart, that the outcome should be good. The same way when we think of the education, so we are planning to produce the graduates and we expect the outcome should be good. So with this background, these few of the objectives what we will discuss. What is it, why and how it started and how it helps in the accreditation process. So OBE is nothing but, I think all of us are familiar with the competency based medical education, but what is this outcome based education? All of us want a good outcome, but we don't align our curriculum with the outcome based education. We go in a, like where it is more of a teacher centered what we do. So this OBE is nothing but it is the producing educational outcomes that focuses on what students can do after their taught. But what usually we think is what the student should be able to do it, but we want the student to do it after the graduation. That is what is the outcome. So all the students to successfully achieve the particular level of knowledge, we fix the ability or the knowledge of a particular candidate. Okay. So it is not what we teach, but it is what the students learn matters in the outcome based education. That's what we want our product or the outcome should be good. So this outcome based education, it is started since 1988 by William Spady. So outcome based education is nothing but what students can do successfully after the completion of the course or a graduation. That is what actually is the outcome based education. But in the competency we think what students will be able to do, but we want the student do it after the graduation. Why this outcome based education? So why is this? Why do we need this outcome based education in India? Why should we have this? Yes, exactly what sir said. It is whether our efforts are, and it is being, I think, the deemed universities, we are more towards it is how it is valued. The institution is graded upon that. So it is the, once you start this outcome based education, it is highly valued by all, and it is the fundamental for being successful. How? It is because they use in the real life situation they are going to use. So we want the students to do in the real world situation what they successfully, and there will be employment. So we all of us know there is a lot of challenges in the higher education. So one is where the requirement, the students, the accountability towards the students, that is the fulfilling the requirements of the curriculum. And another thing is the satisfying the need of the industries. Now we have the corporate hospitals and lot of, because the accreditation process is going on. So it is, we need the what is the need of the society, we need to think in that, and also to maintain the academic standards, otherwise it becomes unaccredited programs, and also the finally the accrediting agency. So finally, because all the higher education institution has to be accredited, so again that becomes a challenge. But when you think the issues in the teaching learning, okay, so all of us I think agree with me that the student intake, the qualification and the quantity. Okay, so imagine we have a 250 students. It's very difficult to even implement the CBME, the small group teaching. Being a deemed university, we have 20 plus courses running, programs are running, and concentrating only with the 10 or 12 faculty and handling so many courses. Along with that, making a small group teaching, it's very difficult. So, and also the quality of the student, again it is a challenge. Again the staff, the competency of the staff, and the teaching process is has to be transparent and should be controlled, and it is the assessment, it should be based on the outcomes, and the courses has to be, as I said, need based, and it should be relevant. And finally comes the challenge is the facilities, it has to be sufficient, up to date to implement this outcome based education. So with this, how this outcome based education has evolved, it's come up till this. First we had this mastery based education, so where there is an acquisition of a knowledge, but where here there is a only adequate time was given for the to achieve the proficiency, where to achieve this mastery of the skills. Then we got the CBME, that is a competency based medical education, where it had all the characteristics of a master based education, plus there it was a self-paced. It is a self-paced, that is the CBME. That is what is the core importance of the CBME, it has to be self-paced. Because each student has their own capacity to learn. Yesterday as sir was talking about the work. So each one has a different capacity to learn. So it has to be self-paced, and finally comes because of all this, the outcome-based education is come. Here what the importance is, all the characteristic of a CBME and a master-based education. Along with that, there is to understand why that proficiency is needed. That is what is important in the outcome-based education, why the particular the proficiency is needed. That is how the outcome, the OB is come out. So how there is a shift from in the education. So first it was a teacher-centered, moving towards the student-centered education. That is what mainly focusing on the outcome-based education. In the traditional, where the teacher owns the students and we just convey it to the student. But here in the outcome-based, how it is evolved is, now the students learn as much as possible. That we call it as self-directed learning. And here the teacher brings the content and answer or trains the students. But here, now the teacher are more of a facilitator than as a teacher. We just guide them how to acquire the particular knowledge. So that is how there is a shift in the education. So just take a minute and read this. It says that I taught the stripe how to whistle. Then he says that I don't hear him whistle. He says I said I taught him, but I didn't say that he learnt it. So that's what happens in this our curriculum. We just go because we need to finish the portion. We just go, tell it and come out. But we don't really think whether the students are learned or not. So it is more on the content or what the students have studied, and examination to assess how much the student learned the content. So we don't really think on that whether he achieved those outcomes. So is it a fair assessment? So you can see there's all the monkey, elephant, everything is there. But please climb the tree. So what happens is, that is what actually we do it. We think all of us, all the students are at the same level. But there is a different level, or not all 5 fingers are the same. That even applies to the student. Okay, so but if you think, if you give this assessment, then the fish or an elephant, they think that they are the fool, they are the stupid because they don't know how to do this target. Okay, so that is why we need to change this from a traditional to a outcome-based education. So some of the differences, how it is different from the traditional. As I said, it is students are passive learners, but they should become the active learners, and they take the responsibility of their own learning. And in the traditional, we have a examination driven, but it has to be continuous assessment. I think most of us are implemented this. It has to be continuous assessment, and we focus mainly on the content, but we have to go with the integrating the knowledge and the learning output. And in the traditional, it is not, it's a rigid, it is not flexible. But when you move to the outcome-based education, it is more of a flexible in the time frame as well as in the teaching, learning and the assessment. It has to be more flexible. And till now we were only an instructor. We need to become act as a facilitator. And in a traditional, it was a rote learning, and we emphasize more on the product. But it has to be on the higher level, the critical thinking and the problem solving. And we think of only completing the course, but it has to be, they have to master those outcomes or the skills. They should be more competent, and we need to move towards the real world relevance, whether what they are studying, is it really useful or not. Okay, and it is a teacher directed, but here the student should take the ownership, and there is a little emphasis or sometimes the lack of emphasis on the soft skills, the communication, all this professionalism. It was more of a hidden curriculum, but that has in the curriculum, it has come as in the curriculum, and there is some amount of communication skills and from a traditional to this outcome-based education. And most of us would have experienced, especially the senior faculty would definitely agree with me. So when we teach also, we tell them to learn with the concept. Don't go with the whatever is given in the book, or don't listen to your seniors, learn with the concept. Only if you learn with the concept, whether the mark does not matter, how good you become the clinician, how good you are able to apply this basic science in the clinical is more important. So with this, that makes why we need the purpose of the outcome-based education. So in OBE, what matters is not what is taught, but what is learned is more important, and the learning outcomes, instead of putting as the objectives, let us go towards the learning outcomes, and there should be a constructive alignment between your objectives, teaching learning methods and assessment. That is somewhere lacking what we feel it is in the present traditional curriculum. It has to be more, the constructive alignment should be there, and the quality of the teaching should be judged by the quality of the learning what takes place. We may say that I am a good teacher, I taught so many things, but finally what is learned by the student matters than what is taught. Okay, and all the OBE, it is the criteria based, and it focuses on what student can do with the knowledge or the competency after period of learning. So that is what is makes the essential for this outcome based education. And there are 4 principles where we need to construct our curriculum based on these principles. First things, there should be clarity of focus on the outcomes. So both for the faculty as well as for the teachers, there should be clarity. What we want the students should be able to perform after the completion of the course, and it is more of the designing backwards. What I mean is the bottom up approach, where first thing is we prepare the career outcomes, then prepare the teaching learning methods, align with the assessment, then we assess what are these outcomes. So we are going first preparing the outcomes, then we are going backwards. Then there is a high expectation of a success. Okay, it is set this outcomes for all. Okay, so all learners expect students to succeed by providing them encouragement to engage deeply within the issues they are learning and to achieve the high standards. So there should be high expectation, and expand the opportunity. Okay, so where we needs assessment has to be done, and develop the curriculum to give the scope for this. So that has to be, so these are the 4 principles what the outcome based education needs. So this is what I said, the constructive alignment, that is the learning outcomes, what the students are achieve at the end of the lesson. How are we going to, the activities to help the student achieve this, and the assessment, that is how do we know that the students have achieved this. So this alignment has to be, the strong alignment has to be there, because sometimes what happens is, so we just teach in the theory lot of the things and we don't assess. In the practicals also lot of the things we ask them to do, perform lot of things, but we don't assess it. So it has to be, there should be an alignment which has to be assessed in the practical, which has to be assessed in the theory, that has to be clear, outcome should be there. When we come to the framework of this outcome based education, first we prepare this, there is a vision and mission, then there is a program outcomes. Program is what I say is MBBS is a program and anatomy is a course. So then there is a course outcomes are developed aligned with this, and there is we think of the teaching learning and the assessment methods, how the syllabus, how the content has to be delivered. Then we assess the course outcomes. With that course outcomes, we assess the program outcomes. Then the institutional assessment is there, and always the OB is a loop. It is not a end point, there is a loop. There is a improvement in the quality. If there is anything is wrong is there, identify the gap and close the loop. So this is the process. There is a planning at the curriculum and the academic level, then where we need to prepare the program outcomes, developing using the Bloom's taxonomy. I think all of you are familiar with this Bloom's taxonomy. So with the Bloom's taxonomy plays a major role when you are planning the outcome based education. Then we need to implement it evidence based, and then the assess. There's a lot of things what you can see here. The student portfolio, what are the assessment methods? There's a direct and indirect assessments that has to be kept in mind, and evaluate it and close the loop. If there is anything is gap is there, so in the quality improvement we need to close this loop. So the designing and implementation, we design, when you're designing it is from the top to bottom approach. When you're implementing from the bottom to top approach, that is what I said is the designing backwards. So this is how the relation, vision and mission, PUOs is the program educational objectives, program outcomes, and then the course outcomes. So when you are implementing it, first develop the outcomes, learning outcomes. Then we need to map, curriculum mapping should be done, and select the assessment strategies, develop the rubrics, need to train the faculty on this, implement it, and do the assessment and do the continuous improvement with closing the loop. So why is it, what are the advantages going with this OBE? As already we have known that there is a clear outcome is there, so we know what the students will be able to do at the end, what they are going to do. And here we are focusing mainly on the competency, on the mastery of the skills, and it is more relevant learning is there. The whatever the outcomes are there, it has to be relevant, and there is a continuous improvement is there. If we find any gap in the students, we identify the students, and then there is a continuous improvement is there, and there is a quality education. And as I said earlier, there is a lot of flexibility is there. It is not a in terms of both time as well as the teaching learning methods, and it is more of a self-directed learning. We act as more of a facilitator, and they have a better career option if there is if you train them with the OBE. Okay, so it helps to attain the career-oriented knowledge for the students. It is clearly outlines the learning expectancy, encourages your more of a critical thinking. I think you'll understand this when I say how it is mapped with the anatomy, and it nurtures the lifelong learning skills, and it is more of a student-centered approach, enhance the relevance of the education with the real world scenario, and it is more of a transparency and accountability is there, because we know it is more of transparent, we assess them, there is a evidence based, it is there, the documentation is there. But what are the challenges? I think I expect from a deemed university faculty who is working for a NAC. So I think there is a lot of challenges there too. So what are the challenges? Time itself, definitely is a time. Workload is there. No, because as said, I started this integration, horizontal integration we started in 2012-13 itself, before even the NMC started. We had lot of challenges from the faculty who are not ready to accept this. Because we used to with one traditional teaching, they are not ready to move out of this, whether it is senior or junior, doesn't matter, most of the faculties are not ready for a change. Again here it becomes a challenge. And yes sir? Yes sir, that's a human tendency, definitely. Because only people who are passionate will start trying to implement the new things, but a lot of resistance will be there from the faculty, because a lot of other issues also play a major role here, the faculty positions and the number of faculty. And another challenge what we faced was developing the learning outcomes. So we trained a lot of faculty, but still because we are used to give the outcomes in terms of objectives. We ourselves are not clear what exactly we want the student to do after the completion of the course. And again, aligning this assessment methods with the learning outcomes becomes a challenge. Creating the rubrics for a particular assessment methods, what rubrics are relevant to that, and implementing, that is moving from a teacher center to a student center, again it becomes a challenge. Training all the faculty, again the huge number of faculty, and also there is a lot of resource restrictions. We want to implement this OBE, there is a lot of technology we need this because it's humanly impossible to do it manually. So we need lot of this technology assistance is needed and integrating it with the current system. Because already because if we have a regulatory bodies, it's not easy as to the AHS and other courses. We have a regulatory bodies. How to implement this with the current system of CBME, again integrating it with this becomes a challenge. Now what are the important few terminologies? Because when we were started with this OBE, we also were not clear on what is program and what is course outcomes. Still many people they get confused with what is the, simply I would say this, MBBS is a course and MBBS is a program and anatomy is a course. That's what the simple term I would put it as. Because we were confused when we say, so they can see Johnson sir is thinking what is this? Yes sir, that is what it becomes. We call the MBBS as a program and each subject we call it as a course. That is what it becomes a course outcomes. And another important is the course outcomes are nothing but what the student should do at the end of the course, and program is at the end of when they are graduating what they are able to do it. But the program educational objectives, it is after 3 or 4 years of the graduation what they are successful in their career, that becomes our program educational objectives. So all these we need to define this. So this is how the relationship between the course outcomes and the program outcomes. So there is a lot of terminologies. So finally I would put it as, remember at least 3 terms: course outcome, program outcome and the program educational objectives. Just another clip, why do we need this? We want to produce the graduates who are able to perform or exhibit their skills rather than only the just a bookworms what we call. We don't want them to be, we want them to be more competent enough to face the community, because we are producing the Indian medical graduates who should be able to face the community once they are graduated. Now how it is how it is in the anatomy, how is it different from the CBME? So this all of us are remembering that the Bloom's taxonomy levels. So till here we are more familiar and we are following this more of a remembering and a understanding. Now if you just go with the higher level, the applying. Okay, so we are asking them distinguish between a medial nerve injury at the elbow and at the wrist, where they should be able to apply their knowledge. We think that they are learning all this, but we don't emphasize when you are teaching this, they should learn this concept. We think that yes, because once you study, they will be able to apply when they go to the clinical. Analyzing is in what ways do the claw hand in a median nerve and ulnar nerve lesion is differ. So all we think that once we teach about the median nerve, ulnar nerve, everything we teach about the basic things we teach, but we think that we assume that they know, they will be able to do all this, but we don't give emphasis on these levels. So we need to move from this, and We just ask them what happens when there is a fracture of neck of the humerus. We don't really ask or think that the student should know why it is happening. So with the concept, if they learn, it is more important. And when it comes to the skill, they need to go with this Miller's pyramid. From a nose out till the show serve, we can actually move. That is what we want to move from the basic level, from a recall level till the at least applying and analyzing they should be able to do at the first year itself. So creating, probably that is as we progress, once we are familiar with this, we can move to the higher level. So what tools could be used to evaluate the severity of a brachial plexus injury? So it is again, that is the highest level in the Bloom's taxonomy. We want to achieve at this highest level in the taxonomy. Now what is this globally? How is it this OBE is implemented? Okay, it is already implemented in many of the countries, where this Australia and South Africa, they have implemented it because there is a lot of opposition, they stopped it. USA implemented it in 2000 and Hong Kong in 2005. Malaysia, it is implemented in 2008, and the Washington occurred in 1989. In also India also, we are following this. And so most of the countries, you can see there is in 2017, almost all part of the, most of the major countries have implemented this OBE. In India, what it is we are following this Washington Accord. It was implemented in 2014, but it is mainly for the pharmacy, engineering and management studies. It is not yet implemented in the medical education, where the health science universities are now moving towards this OBE in a medical also, where there's in the other programs where the MBA is the one which accreditates all this. That is mainly in the engineering and the pharmacy and the management. But the NAC is asking even for the medical universities. So when we want to implement this, how it should be? There should be the program outcomes and there should be a performance indicators we need to identify, and it should be the outcome driven, and all the outcomes has to be evaluated and assessed. And it should be the, whenever preparing the outcomes, it should be more of a student centered, and there is a, every learning outcome is intentional and therefore it must be assessed using a suitable performance indicator. So we need to identify all these indicators. So the outcome based accreditation, so in the education what students should be able to do, and in the curriculum how to align the outcomes with the syllabus we need to plan, how to make the student achieve, that's the teaching learning activities, and how to measure the student success. So in this accreditation process, we need to be clear on all these four aspects of the curriculum and the administrative system in the accreditation. So we have a course coordinator, then there will be a module coordinator, then there will be program coordinator, and there should be a program assessment committee and at the department advisory committee, because once we finalize the outcomes and attainment levels we need to be, and finally all this is headed by the IPS. You need to submit this. This is how the system, administrative system of this OBE. Just to take home message, this is the pyramid of this OBE, that is the paradigms. What and whether student learn successfully is more important than what and how they are learning. Purposes: equip the students with the knowledge, competence and qualities to be successful after they exit the education system, and there should be a structure and operate so that the desired outcomes are achieved and for all the students. That is what our ultimate. And premises is whether all students can learn, but maybe not in the same way or the same time, but all the students should learn. And successful learning breeds more successful learning. Schools control the conditions that directs the learning. Principles is clarity of focus, expand the opportunities, high expectations and design down approach. And practices: design the outcomes, design the curriculum, design the instruction methods. We need to document and then we need to go the advancement, that is the quality improved. So the time is there, another 3-4 minutes. Course outcomes. Still many people, they get confused with what is the, simply I would say this, MBBS is a course and MBBS is a program and anatomy is a course. That's what the simple term I would put it as. Because we were confused when we say, so they can see Johnson sir is thinking, what is this? Yes sir, that is what it becomes. We call the MBBS as a program and each subject we call it as a course. That is what it becomes a course outcomes. And another important is the course outcomes are nothing but what the student should do at the end of the course, and program is at the end of when they are graduating, what they are able to do it. But the program educational objectives, it is after 3 or 4 years of the graduation, what they are successful in their career, that becomes our program educational objectives. So all these we need to define this. So this is how the relationship between the course outcomes and the program outcomes. So there is a lot of terminologies. So finally I would put it as, remember at least 3 terms: course outcome, program outcome and the program educational objectives. Just another clip, why do we need this? We want to produce the graduates who are able to perform or exhibit their skills rather than only the just a bookworms, what we call. We don't want them to be, we want them to be more competent enough to face the community, because we are producing the Indian medical graduates who should be able to face the community once they are graduated. Now how it is how it is in the anatomy, how is it different from the CBME? So this, all of us are remembering that the Bloom's taxonomy levels. So till here we are more familiar and we are following this more of a remembering and a understanding. Now if you just go with the higher level, the applying. Okay, so we are asking them distinguish between a medial nerve injury at the elbow and at the wrist, where they should be able to apply their knowledge. We think that they are learning all this, but we don't emphasize when you are teaching this, they should learn this concept. We think that yes, because once you study, they will be able to apply when they go to the clinical. Analyzing is, in what ways do the claw hand in a median nerve and ulnar nerve lesion is differ. So all we think that once we teach about the median nerve, ulnar nerve, everything we teach about the basic things we teach, but we think that we assume that they know, they will be able to do all this, but we don't give emphasis on these levels. So we need to move from this, and we just ask them what happens when there is a fracture of neck of the humerus. We don't really ask or think that the student should know why it is happening. So with the concept, if they learn, it is more important. And when it comes to the skill, they need to go with this Miller's pyramid. From a nose out till the show serve, we can actually move. That is what we want to move from the basic level. from a recall level till the at least applying and analyzing they should be able to do at the first year itself. So creating, probably that is as we progress, once we are familiar with this, we can move to the higher level. So what tools could be used to evaluate the severity of a brachial plexus injury? So it is again, that is the highest level in the Bloom's taxonomy. We want to achieve at this highest level in the taxonomy. Now what is this globally? How is it this OBE is implemented? Okay, it is already implemented in many of the countries, where this Australia and South Africa, they have implemented it because there is a lot of opposition, they stopped it. USA implemented in 2000 and Hong Kong in 2005, Malaysia it is implemented in 2008 and the Washington occurred in 1989. In also India also we are following this, and so most of the countries you can see there is in 2017 almost all part of the most of the major countries have implemented this OBE. In India what it is we are following this Washington Accord. It was implemented in 2014, but it is mainly for the pharmacy, engineering and management studies. It is not yet implemented in the medical education, where the health science universities are now moving towards this OBE in a medical also, where there's in the other programs where the MBA is the one which accreditates all this. That is mainly in the engineering and the pharmacy and the management. But the NAC is asking even for the medical universities. So when we want to implement this, how it should be? There should be the program outcomes and there should be a performance indicators we need to identify, and it should be the outcome driven, and all the outcomes has to be evaluated and assessed. And it should be the, whenever preparing the outcomes, it should be more of a student centered, and there is every learning outcome is intentional and therefore it must be assessed using a suitable performance indicator. So we need to identify all these indicators. So the outcome based accreditation, so in the education what students should be able to do, and in the curriculum how to align the outcomes with the syllabus we need to plan, how to make the student achieve that the teaching learning activities, and how to measure the student success. So in this accreditation process we need to be clear on all these four aspects of the curriculum and the administrative system in the accreditation. So we have a course coordinator, then there will be a module coordinator, then there will be a program coordinator, and there should be a program assessment committee and at the department advisory committee, because once we finalize the outcomes and attainment levels we need to be, and finally all this is headed by the IPAC. You need to submit this. This is how the system, administrative system of this OBE. Just to take home message, this is the pyramid of this OBE, that is the paradigms. What and whether student learn successfully is more important than what and how they are learning. Purposes: equip the students with the knowledge, competence and qualities to be successful after they exit the education system, and there should be a structure and operate so that the desired outcomes are achieved and for all the students. That is what our ultimate. And premises is whether all students can learn, but maybe not in the same way or the same time, but all the students should learn. And successful learning breeds more successful learning. Schools control the conditions that directs the learning. Principles is clarity of focus, expand the opportunities, high expectations and design down approach. And practices: design the outcomes, design the curriculum, design the instruction methods. We need to document, and then we need to go the advancement, that is the quality improvement.
So I think that gives us the clarity on as a teacher what we are supposed to do. Treat all the students equally. There may be each one, as I said, each one has a different level of learning and different level of achieving. We need to identify that and concentrate on that. So quality is our starting point of the journey for the excellence. And any query you have, to answer. So let us be all the great teachers to inspire our students. Quality is not a journey, it's a journey, not a destination.
Thank you, ma'am, for the exceptional donation. Now the session is open for discussion. Now I kindly request Dr. Kalimani sir, Professor of Anatomy, to honor Dr. Pushpalata. As we draw near to the end of the orations, we would like to thank all our office, association office bearers, senior members, chairpersons, and our dear delegates for sharing your valuable time with us. Next, we will be moving on to the scientific sessions, which will be held as second panel sessions. Dear delegates, also please note that lunch will be served at 12:30 p.m. in microbiology lab, which is at the near end of the ground floor. After lunch, kindly gather up in lecture hall 1 at 1:30 p.m. to move on with the validation function. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all. On behalf of the organizing team, I welcome you all for the valedictory function. As all good things have to come to a good end, so we've come to the end of our two-day conference. With not much of delay, I would like to start with the proceedings. I request our organizing secretary, Dr. W.M.S. Johnson sir, to address the gathering. Jennifer Kumar sir, to address the gathering.
Very good afternoon to each and everyone present here. First of all, I would like to thank the management of Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research for permitting us to conduct this 44th National Conference of Association of Anatomists-Tamilnadu. When Johnson sir agreed to conduct it, so the association gave the permission to conduct the conference. So starting from that day onwards, Dr. Johnson was very active. Frequently he used to call and ask what is the next thing we have to do. So I thank the management. I wholeheartedly congratulate the dean and Professor Dr. W.M.S. Johnson, the organizing secretary, the other organizing secretaries, Dr. Archana and Dr. Durga, the HOD of Anatomy. So starting from the first day of the function, as we entered into Balaji Medical College, I hope everyone will agree, we were welcomed with a smile and we did not have any problem in the registration counter. So thanks to the members who were in the registration counter. So once when we registered, the first time we saw that we went to a breakfast. There they gave the card and they just had a biometry of it. So this was a unique thing which we had not seen in any of the conference. So thank you sir for introducing this system. So it will help the future people who conducts the conference to introduce the system same. The breakfast was good. Then the inaugural function. The inaugural function started in time and the chief guest, Dr. Sara and Dr. Subhash, both of them were on time when we started the inauguration. So before the inauguration, had Dr. Sudha Seshayan talk, that was Professor Vatsala Venkateshan's oration that were given by Dr. Sudha Seshayan. So it was also new to us, and as we all know about Dr. Sudha Seshayan, she is a good orator, and all enjoyed the oration. Next to the oration, we had a dance. Thanks to that participant who danced. Next, we had the inaugural function. In the inaugural function, the MBBS students, BDS students, and the faculty PG who presented in the previous conference were awarded the certificates and medal. So next to the session was Professor M. Cooper oration, which was done by Dr. S. Sundrapandian. That was also very nice oration, followed by lunch. So the lunch was very good because no one complained anything or no one was admitted in hospital. So it shows that both vegetarian and non-vegetarian lunch was very, very good. So after lunch, we had a award session in which faculties and under faculty and under UG category. So both went on well and all the members presented well. So normally only one thing which we did find this year is representation. As we all know, the exams have been started, model exams, university exams have been started in many of the colleges. The undergraduate students could not participate. Otherwise, in most of the conferences, even in previous conference conducted by Dr. Johnson, there were many number of undergraduate students, because this association is mainly to encourage the undergraduate students and bring out their talents. So that was the one which was missing. The second day also went on well with two orations followed by paper presentations. The paper presentations were by the faculties and the PGs. I hope all the chairpersons would accept that the papers were good. So then we had the lunch. Now we are sitting in the valedictory function. So it is the team who supported Johnson for this grand success. I should big hand for the team. And anything and everything is asked to the organizing members. They were happy to do it. They did not refuse or they did not see others' face. Somewhere if you go and ask one people, they will just turn around and see another people. It was not like that. They themselves responded. See, on the whole, the feedback of the association, the conference was very, very good. The conference was a grand success. And some of you also know they were in a hectic schedule for the past 1 week. They were not able to do their regular works. In spite of it, they kept their words and did the conference in a grand manner. So in this occasion, I thank each and everyone who has contributed for this conference to become a great success. Unity is success. So you have proven your success. So on behalf of Dr. Sundrapandian, I welcome each and everyone for the next conference, 45th conference, which is going to be held in SRM Medical College. So each faculty bring your students from your colleges. So with this, once again I thank the organizing committee and the organizing chairman and all the members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your honest opinion. May I now request our past president and professor and HOD of Aslam's College, Dr. Vijay Madam, to address the gathering.
Respected delegates on the dais and off the dais, good afternoon to one and all. So at this outset, I would like to thank and appreciate and congratulate the organizing team and the organizing secretary for conducting such a grand conference. We really had an extreme hospitality over here, a special mention to that. So my tenure as a president of Association of Anatomists-Tamilnadu is getting over by today. So in a few minutes, I'll be handing over my responsibility to the next organizing secretary, which would be our Johnson sir. So my travel as a president in this association was made very comfortable and easy and convenient by the great support of our General Secretary, Dr. Sandil Kumar sir, our immediate past president, Dr. Deepthi Shastri ma'am, who couldn't attend the conference, and a special mention to all the office bearers and executive committee members of our association. Most of them are my teachers, so they really have taken care of me. So I had no problem in traveling as a president of this association. All of us need to again applaud and express our gratitude to Dr. WMS Johnson sir and his team for all the efforts to host this 44th National Conference of Association of Tamil Nadu. The organizers have made strenuous efforts to make the event memorable, and of course it is a grand success. So on behalf of our Association of Anatomists, I would like to hand over the most prestigious presidentship of an anatomist of this association to our organizing secretary sir now. I really believe that Johnson sir is really apt as for this responsibility of a president, because I have seen him here as a very effective administrator over here. So I really believe that he can take the association to the next level, being a president. So I request Johnson sir to very graciously accept this responsibility of being a president. Thank you.
I request Vijay Madam to hand over the president post and the proceedings to Dr. Johnson sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now, we would like to take feedback from the audience gathered here.
Good afternoon to everyone. So, among most of the conferences or CMA attended, this is one of the best organized one. Thanks to Dr. WMS Johnson sir. A leader is not just instructing someone to do something. He inspires others to do the way he walks. And one great leader I had seen as administrator, I am inspired by your leadership, sir. And I am feeling jealous about the organizing committee. I am wondering whether I will get such faculties for my department in one time when I am taking up this responsibility of conducting the conference. Hats off to the entire organizing team under the leadership of Dr. WMS Johnson, and it's an inspiration for me, sir. I hope I fulfill little criteria like you as a leader. It was a very, very well organized. Right from I came a day before the conference, I was having lunch in the department. The team has taken strenuous effort that whether the food that is going to be served for the next 2 conference day is up to the mark. The entire team was discussing this little spice, this dish should be there. They were even discussing the menu, and tomorrow this should be included. I have not seen a team eating the food that is going to be given and giving the best quality. Starting from food, any even success will be based on the food that is delivered. It may be a marriage function or something like that. Both our food for the brain, the oration topics, it's all need of the hour. Artificial intelligence, newer concepts in anatomy, and tools used in the teaching. All these are need of the hour, and the theme evolution, the theme of the conference, evidence-based medicine, all were met by the speakers, by the session delivered, and by the organizing committee. Hats off to the organizing committee. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. Respected persons, chairpersons in the dais, and colleagues and other delegates here. I'm extremely happy to be here in the conference. First of all, I have to appreciate the topic, the name of the conference, EEE 2003. So it's an excellent way of production of the new topic they have taken for the conference. And other than that, every step of the conference from day one, we could get periodic information continuously. Every day you see the mobile, you can see something or other, some information they were passing on. And the way of producing videos. So many videos they had produced before that. So it was something new. It was extremely new. And the team, starting from the organizing secretary, Dr. Johnson, hats off to you. Though he had deanship and he had some other commitments, and later the last few weeks he had difficult time. Yeah, even in the night he used to call and say, I am in the college. So with that he was doing this work also. That is really untiring work he had done, and we have to appreciate him. Other than that, the team of the organizing team, the head Dr. Durga Devi, Dr. Archana, Prabha, and all the other organizing team, all the beautiful girls. Everywhere you see only beautiful girls in the department. I was asking only 3 male members, all the others were beautiful girls with the cheering face and smiling face, running for everything. Everything, whatever you ask, they run and do it. They don't even ask others, well, I will find out, I will check, nothing. Immediately, right in front, you get it. So it was very well organized in every part of the conference, starting from the inauguration, registration. The boys were running, and the boys instantly they were giving the details, whatever we want. And as Dr. Sendil Kumar was telling, the token given for the badges given for it was really to be appreciated, Dr. Johnson. Really. Yesterday I could not take out, and immediately I thought, oh, I won't get the food. So then only I could find out, and then I put it immediately into the neck so that I must not miss my food. So the dance, inaugurated function dance, the speakers, all the 4 speakers were excellent. All the 4 speakers. Real hats off to them. Every topic they had selected were very good, and to be appreciated is Dr. Johnson had chosen all the 3 departed faculty members who were there in the college, Dr. Sai Kumar, Dr. Vatsala Venkatesan and Dr. Kamalesh. He was remembering them in this conference. That's really an excellent gesture. And also honoring their family. That's also another thing we have to appreciate. And food, of course, food. Before food, I have to tell about the scientific sessions. Was a feast to everybody. Unfortunately, there are very less undergraduates. That was a disappointment for us. Otherwise, it was an excellent, food was excellent, everything was excellent. No other word to say for that, Dr. Johnson. The way they were honoring us, senior anatomists with a big turban, and it was really a great thing you had done. They made us to sit on the dais and honored us. It was very, very nice gesture on you. And other than that, I have to tell one more thing. I forgot. What's it? The general body, all the programs were on time. Everything was on time. We did not wait. On time. Everything was done on time. And especially we have to appreciate in the history of Association of Anatomists, yesterday was the first day the general body meeting was on time. Before time. All the members have to appreciate that. Very well organized. How many times you will give us snacks? Yesterday, keep on coming, coffee, snacks and other things. Continuously coming so that we won't be tired. Anyway, it's very nice. I appreciate. Congratulations to everybody. Let us all give standing ovation to the organizing team. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Congratulations.
My sincere thanks to Dr. Johnson and all the teams for your wonderful conference you have conducted, and it's par excellent. I have seen many conferences. This is one of the best conferences because as everyone has already talked about so much, what I appreciate most is the leadership of this conference. Dr. Johnson, from day one, he was communicating to me personally. Till last day, evening also, he inquired whether we have started, when we have started, how far you have reached. No, I have never seen like that, such caring and so much, very, very sincere thanks to you and to your team. I am full of praise for you. I am going with a very nice opinion about this conference. All credit goes to all team members. Thank you. And even this senior, you have given such a nice, I can't describe that function, but I have seen this type of function in Karnataka. So you have taken, it's a new initiation for this conference. Many new things you have started. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Audiovisual department, they help us a lot.
Actually, Madam said leadership. One of the quality of the leadership is திருவள்ளுவர் சொல்லிப்பார்ல இதனால் இவன் செய்வான் என்றாய்ந்து அதனை அவன்கண் விடல். அதுதான் இது நம்ம போட வேண்டியதில்லை. பட் அந்த ஒரு நல்ல டீம் அண்ட் அவங்கள ஒரு ரிங் மாஸ்டர் மாதிரி ப்ராபப்ளி ஐம் சாரி டு சே தட் வேர்ட் ஓகே இல்லை இட்ஸ் நாட் தட் எஸ் probably put in your correct position so that you will do your maximum, okay, whatever is assigned to you. that he has done it, and you have done a wonderful job, and a big thanks to the team anatomy, okay, of Balaji Medical College. I put it in writing in the message also. God bless you all. Thank you.
Respected immediate past president, general secretary, office bearers, colleagues and friends, at the outset I wholeheartedly welcome my new team of office bearers for the first executive committee that is concurrently being held here now. This becomes a kind of emotional talk for me because the Association of Anatomists-Tamilnadu is the first thing I learned before I started learning anatomy. Ramachandra Medical College was the seat of power of the Association of Anatomists. We still remember how Melanie Madam used to take everything personally and do things. What is being held is because of your training. And I see the entire team here, Sandil Kumar sir, everybody, we were all there when things were happening. And thanks to the management, this is the third conference we are conducting in a period of 20 years of existence. That means once in 5 or 6 years we are conducting. And I thank you for your positive feedback. There's a saying, behind every successful man there is a woman. I have got more than 10 women. I think I should make them stand and give us a clap. The entire credit goes to them. Thank you, ladies. Please be seated. And doesn't mean that the other two, the only two male colleagues are coming behind, Prabhu and Kavimani, who took care of accommodation, transport, and wherever there was a gap. You won't believe this weather forecast, we saw 1 month back that there will be a shower yesterday and today. And today morning when I came and got down, Kavimani was fully drenched. So I thank the entire team. Now starting from the registration, I heard everybody say that there was a flawless registration. I should really thank Archana, the joint organizing secretary, who is full of brains, and her creative ideas were fully incorporated in the tag. I should also thank in absentia the IT support guy, Rajesh Shekhar, who was with us, and the barcode, and behind the tag there is a QR code. You would have noticed it is for the souvenir. We have not printed the book for the members who are not presenting the paper. It was souvenir, printed souvenir has been given to the people who presented the paper. For all of you others, you can always, because we want to go, we have to make use of that technology. The QR scanner is there. Then the catering, which comes next. I was a bit disappointed when I accepted the conference and decided to keep it in October. Later on I came to know that it falls in the month of Puratasi. So even 1 month back or so I was talking to Sandil sir what to do. He said, okay, at least half of them will not mind Puratasi. You keep 1 day non-vegetarian. Otherwise, if had it not been Puratasi, the flavor of the conference would have been different. So this Tamil month came in between. And the second thing is one of the negative things about the conference, as far as I would think, we did not provide a dinner for the delegates. One reason is there were not many entries. Malini Madam was after me every time. How many abstracts have come? It slowly picked up and finally it ended up very close to 90. So when we calculated the time and all, there was nothing much beyond 5 o'clock to do. So I didn't know what to do till 8 o'clock also. There was one reason why we did not keep the dinner. And the graduate students, UG students, they are not able to present the paper. If they had been there, we could have had some cultural program for the evening and then dinner. Probably Sundara Pandian will be able to do that. And catering the food, I thank Jay Kumari with a team of two young girls, Chitra and all the tutors. So it's all their tutors. One girl is almost nearing term, and with that she is helping us around. And so I thank the entire catering committee and the recognition for the senior anatomist. Suddenly a couple of days back, I think just 48 hours before the inauguration, I had this crazy idea because I used to attend a lot of conferences in Karnataka. I am equally involved with the Karnataka chapter, and myself, Krishnaveni, Archana, we were there in Gatak about few months back, and I saw this happening, and then I asked Krishnaveni, because she is from North Karnataka, whether we can get it, source it from some shop here. She inquired with her mother-in-law and everybody and said, no chance sir, this is a very last minute request you are placing. Then I requested Pushpalata, because she was coming from Mysore, just one day before the conference. I thank, without any ego, she coming as an invited speaker, just for the sake of friendship, because Johnson asked, she obliged and she brought. Madam, thank you so much, because that was the hallmark of the inaugural function. So everybody is happy about it, not only those who were honored, even the people who saw the conference, they are all inspired, and I thank you for that. And Mysore Peta. So I thank my entire team for standing with me. Last year when I accepted the conference in Pondicherry and came back, there was a kind of some kind of responsibility, how we will carry it and all those things. And I should thank the management in spite of all this hardship we were facing. It's really magnanimous on their part, because as soon as the issue was over and I met the chairman in the house with the invitation, with apprehension what he will say, and he was relieved of all those tensions. Just then I met him in the house and gave the invitation and told we are having the conference, I don't know what to do. He said, simply go ahead. Don't stop. Let the routine things go on. Only thing is, we could not get the financial support from the management that was promised. So we had to have a shoestring budget. I could not extend hospitality to all the office bearers of the association. So I request them to kindly bear with me. And once again, I thank scientific committee, sorry. Thanks for reminding. Excellent job. They were so patient. I was told today one guy presenting from Pune was taking their life out, and in spite of all difficulties, in spite of the academic challenges, we have got two batches. All the colleges will be having it. Two batches are there. You have to handle them. And in spite of that, all the three women, Rakhi, Jinu, and Mary Prabha, Tenarvi, the newcomer from CMC. So I thank everybody. Have I left anybody from the organizing team? And all my support people, Selvam, Sambat, Gomadi, with a cheerful face they were entertaining us. And I thank all for coming and gracing this conference, and looking forward for another year of the growth of the association. Only thing is the journal is not happening, which is a disappointing thing which we observed yesterday. I hope and request all of you to step into the editorial board and try to revive the journal. Thank you once again. Thank you. Thank you.